Hello, and welcome to another Synth Soundset walkthrough. This one is the sister soundset, as it were, for Nordsund Gold. This is Nordsund Blood. Now, just to give you a little run-through of what these two soundsets are about, last year I was asked by Swedish composers Uno Helmersson and Patrik Andrén to create some sounds for the fourth season of the smash hit Scandinavian Nordic noir thriller, The Bridge, which obviously was fabulous news for me because I'm a massive, massive fan of all things Scandinavian, and especially their TV and culture and stuff. And so, yeah, it was a dream come true to work with them on a show that I love. And so, Nordsund Blood and Nordsund Gold are the results of the synth programming sessions that I did for them. And let's have a listen to the sounds. Now, Blood is different from Gold in the sense that it is much darker, much weirder. There's a lot of tonal, noisy, distorted, and unusual stuff. Basically, what they asked me to do was to make some sounds that were unlike what I would normally make and what I would expect to hear on a Nordic thriller. It was just come up with sounds that are just really different. So hopefully that's what we've got. So let's press on in, and I'll tell you a little bit more about stuff as we go along. It's a good starting place. Distorted, a bit weird. That's brilliant. That's everything that Blood's about, really. Dark and metallic pulsing bass line. So yeah, if you're looking for sounds that are really, really different, this is the sound set. This is the most sort of creative in a dark direction that I've been with Zebra. So there's lots of darkness, lots of atmosphere, noisy, dusty vibes, and a mixture of synth and organic sounds, often within one sound, to really capture the sort of unease and noirishness, basically, of The Bridge. Plenty of bass lines on this one, which is nice. That's a nice bass. Couple of drums. A little bit different, that one. Where were we? And the keys are really, we're going for, on this, the keys were designed to be sort of crisp and creepy. A nice tonality to them. And then we've got a couple of leads, not very many on this one. They're quite sort of subdued and analog drifty kind of vibes. And we've got a few drum beats. Nice and dark. Let's see what the mod wheel does. Just subdues this one. That's really, Blood is really about tension, unease, nervousness. Something's gonna go wrong. I've got a couple of mallets. And then we move on to the pads. Now the pads are, obviously I'm usually used to doing sumptuous pads on Zebra, but here we've got some really creepy noises and some dusty stuff. Damaged and distorted and there's a real sort of sense of a lack of control about these sounds. I mean, obviously I've made them so that you can use them. They work in context and all that sort of business, but they're very sort of edgy and unstable. And some of them have a lightness to them, like that one, but at the same time, it's still not quite right. I like that one. It's got nice modulation. So this is definitely the most sort of adventurous, the most experimental sound set that I've done for Zebra. And that's really what Uno and Potolik wanted me to do. They wanted me to make sounds that were not normal, basically. Had something wrong with them. So even something that's got excuse me, it's got a lightness to it. There's still that weirdness. And we've got lots of soundscapes here. So again, this is really sort of pushing the envelope of what Zebra can do. And what it can do basically is give you a lovely sound that you can just sit underneath a scene in a film or a TV show or game, whatever it is you're working on, and basically just create a sort of nervous sense of anticipation and approaching. Well, just that something good is about to not happen. I'm currently being watched by a pigeon. My studio is in the attic, and so I've got a nice window behind the desk that overlooks all the houses around me, and on the bit of roof in front of me, there's a pigeon staring at me. It's probably going, "What are all those creepy noises, you weirdo?" Okay, we've got three. You see the three Melancholia SFX patches here. Basically, just variations on the theme where I used a gate on the tuning to. So basically, when you release the key, so it gives a sort of vocal call idea. Which is rather nice. I did a few variations on that theme. There's a few SFX patches. I mean, essentially, the difference between an SFX patch and a soundscape for me is that the SFXs work best if you just play them for a short period, whereas obviously the soundscapes are to be, you hit the key and off it goes for as long as you like. All right, sequences. This is another weird section. And again, there's lots of different time signatures in the tempo synced patches on here, the bass lines, the loops, the sequences. Something that Uno and Podrick were very sort of keen on having was this sort of polyrhythmic, this almost uncertain polyrhythmic effect where lots of sounds are going off at different tempo signatures so you don't quite know what's happening with the cue, and I think it's a really interesting and slightly avant-garde, but very, very effective way of approaching things. It's a nice one of those batches that blends the organic with the synthetic. I like that one. And however odd it sounds when sort of listening to it now, I can confirm that all these patches work in a writing context. I haven't just gone mad and done whatever I like. As a composer myself, you know, I still want the patches to be useful. They have to be usable by the guys on the bridge. So, okay, so we've got a few synths on in the Blood sound set, which is a little bit unusual for me. Basically, the patches I didn't feel were leads or basses or anything like that. They're just little oddities that I like. And it's probably the the section of the sound set that has the least sort of tonal regularity, as it were. Lots of delay. Okay, so that's the Zebra 2 version of Blood. So let's now nip over to the Zebra HZ version, shall we? Let's just pop that off and bring it up. Hello, how are you? Okay, so we're now going to go through a bunch of these patches. So if you thought that was sort of dark and crazy, then I've pulled all those patches into Dark Zebra HZ, and made them more dark. So this is kind of where things really begin to lose control. So we'll look at the mod wheel. So yeah, everything's got some interesting stuff going on the mod wheel, and also the XY performance page stuff in there to have a fiddle with if you want to just do some sort of smaller levels of tweaking of each sound. So generally the tone in the Zebra HZ version of Blood is darker and more analog, using the filters and the compressors and just tweaking to make things more intriguing. Take the patches in a different direction, essentially. I think we've got a bit of glide at the beginning there. A little bit crazy. Very odd bass, that. I like it. And yep, a couple of drums in here, not much. And similarly, a handful of keys. The tuning all over the place, but still usable, but still usable. just 3 leads in here, so not very much at all. The loops get a bit darker here. Mallet. Let's play this one. And then back into the pads and all that sort of dark malarkey. It's a surprisingly synthy one, actually, though. Not touching the mod wheel, this is just it going. Rather a fun one, that one. Noisy. Mod wheel. So I'm actually trying out some new equipment today. I've got, hopefully the voiceover's a little bit less roomy than before. I'm using a Rode Procaster, which I've had recommended to me, which I've got mounted on my desk rather than up in the air like I have before. And I'm also using my Arturia keystep, and so I've got a bit more space on the desk for bits and bobs. So my playing is reduced to 2.5 octaves, and slightly small keys, but nonetheless, it's enough to show off these sounds. Well, hopefully it is, anyway. Fun modulation on that one. Revenge. And I have to say, this has been an incredibly rewarding sound set to make. it was really challenging because being told to come up with sounds that you're not really normally making and that don't sound like stuff that you normally hear on television was a fascinating approach. Right, back into Soundscapes. I do think I've done some of the most creative stuff. That I've ever done with Zebra. And it's just another great example of how amazing Zebra is as a synth, what it can do. What's going on here? Why is that not making a sound? Oh, there we go. This is a very the bridge sound, this one. Bit of a modular vibe to this one. Lots of bits and pieces coming in and out. Which is great because you can just hold down a key and go whee! So if you're looking for, tense, creepy, weird, just stuff that adds a nice dark edge to whatever you're working on, it's a good sound set for that. It's full of intensity is what it is. And here we've got those melancholic little SFX. Which I rather like. That's a very good one for saying, right, this man's mad, here's his noise. It's surprisingly melodic, actually. And then you get this. There's quite a lot of sort of metallic and glassy tones going on in the sequence section. It's quite organic, really. That's what I like about the sound set as well. It is a really strong sort of blend of organic and analog synthy sort of styles of sounds. There's a real feel that it's neither one thing nor the other. Which again, Zebra, brilliant app. Right, we're into those synth sounds again. Lots of wobbly distortion and delays. It's a bit like a sort of synthy prepared piano patch. And we're really into sort of Reznor Ross territory a bit there. I like that because it's got a kind of Scandinavian sort of organ vibe to it, which is quite fun. So, there we go. So we've gone through both the Zebra 2 and the Zebra HZ versions of Nordsund Blood there. Blood? I'm becoming Scandinavian. Blood. That's how we say it here, isn't it? Yeah. Blood, not blood. Yep, so this is, like I say, it's been absolute joy making this sound set, and I really think that I have pushed myself to do some really interesting things, and I have to thank both Uno and Patrick for pushing me to do that. But it was an absolute pleasure working on one of my favourite TV series of all time, so yeah. So this will be the Zebra 2 version will be $24.99. The HZ version, which includes the Zebra 2 version, please always remember that the Dark Edition does include the original version as well. That's going to be $34.99, and then I'm going to do a bundle of all 4 sound sets, of both Blood sound sets, both Gold sound sets. The whole thing, 600 patches for 50 quid, which I have to say is probably going to be the bargain of 2018. I know, it's brave of me to declare that on the, 3rd of February today. But there we go, that is what I am saying, and I can't take it back now. It's going to be out there on YouTube and Vimeo, and that makes it true, right? Okay, so I hope you've really enjoyed listening to me playing through some of the sounds. There's obviously loads more sounds on there that you haven't even heard, and some of them are weird, and some of them are wonderful. And the only way to hear them is to buy it. Or listen to the demo tracks, because there's lots of other sounds being used in those, and there's some really terrific stuff. Okay, well, thank you very much once again for joining me, and I hope you enjoy playing with Zebra Nordsund in whichever format you buy it, and you make lots of beautiful, ugly music with it. Okay, thanks again for watching, and speak to you soon. Bye!